failed you. I stood with Celebrimbor. I wore his ring. And we failed to defeat the Dark Lord.
The Dark Lord and the Bright Lord are one. A flaming eye above Barad-dûr. But I sent you to Mordor for the Nazgul. And your work is unfinished. Look to Minas Morgul, and the Nazgul who dwells within it. You know the one of whom I speak.
He died. I took the new ring and left him to die.
He now wears the Ring of Isildur. He belongs to the Dark Lord. It falls to you.
My lady, I cannot. Let me come home.
You will wear the new ring. You will finish what you started. Then, you may return home.
It will be done.
Alrighty then. So we're gonna leave this up for now, so you guys can be asking some questions and things like that. And we also want to be able to, like show off certain scenes and be like, oh look, there's, that kind of thing like that. So that's actually a great scene. I think I might want to hold off on this. This is very pretty. I think I'll leave it on here for now because I love this. So I'm gonna start with some questions to this guy because he was one of the dudes who helped co-write this scene.
True.
Yeah. So let's start off with the very first question I asked when I was chatting with you guys, which was 1 second left. Everyone's like, what happens? It shows a tree. Anyway. And not an important tree, just a tree. Oh man, you guys do not have enough ability to catch up with all y'all. Well done for making it hard for me to read. So, to begin. One of the first things I had a question about is what is going through Eltariel's mind during this scene? I mean, there's a lot of pain in her face and her expressions and that kind of thing. So what is in there right now?
I mean, I think she's got a lot going on. I think there's a lot of shock. She reaches the end. We've given the spoiler warning, but she reaches the end of Shadow of War. She makes a pretty dramatic decision. The entire game, or throughout the course of the story, she has really, distrusted Celebrimbor and distrusted the ring, and made the point of how, I strike down men who wear these rings, but has gotten to a point where she believes that the only way to actually continue this fight is to embrace Celebrimbor's vision and to actually to wear the ring. Obviously, that doesn't go exactly the way either of them planned, as you see in the beginning of that cinematic. So she ends up, she's minus a couple of fingers. Celebrimbor and Sauron have somehow fused. She wakes up and sees Galadriel, to whom she sort of, you're suddenly faced with effectively your boss and having to say, I completely failed at the job you sent me to do. So she's reeling from a lot of the things that have happened. She's really, like I said, she's compromised and done the one thing that she swore she would never do, and it hasn't even worked. So
Right.
she's got a lot going on.
Oh, agreed. There's a comment that's actually was similar to mine. I've seen a couple of people saying like, "Wow, Galadriel is cruel, very mean," which is actually one of the first things I asked you. Was like, "Wow, Galadriel seems really harsh." In this, so why is she being so harsh on Eltariel right now?
I mean, I think the situation here, Galadriel has a lot of awareness about the enemy that they're up against,
Right.
this ongoing war, the sort of larger conflict that is coming. And, we think of elves as sort of being these like beatific creatures who exist in these beautiful environments and are
Right.
sort of, above it all. But really they're embroiled in this war, and really in this moment and in this relationship, Galadriel is really kind of general to Eltariel's soldier, and she's
Right.
saying, you have a mission. It's vital that you complete it. You can't come home until you complete it.
You can't come
it's-
home.
Yeah, you can once you're done, but you're not done. Get on your feet and go do this thing. She's not babying her at all.
Right. So it's you use the term tough love actually earlier. So kind of the idea that I chose you because you're strong.
Right.
And
She knows that she can do it.
Right.
She needs that push to return to the fight.
every time we say return to the fight, I keep thinking about Halo 3. And I saw people in chat making that reference too.
Oh.
So
Well.
you guys put it in my head. Thank you. So with that, when we're pushing Eltariel, when Galadriel's pushing Eltariel to do this, to finish the fight, so to speak, what is kind of the end goal Galadriel's really pushing for? Is it more stalemate? Is it that she thinks that now the ring exists? I mean, as much as we can kind of hint at right now.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into spoiler territory there, but Eltariel makes the point during the course of Shadow of War that she's been sent to, particularly to or specifically to take out the Nazgul, and the
Right.
Nazgul, every time you kill them, they come back. So she's been tasked with this endless, kind of infinite mission because it's an enemy that can't be destroyed.
Right.
She did what she did with the ring because she thought she saw a way to, meaningfully try to escalate things and defeat her enemy.
All right.
But I think she feels like now I've got to go, and Galadriel's saying you've got to keep fighting against the Nazgul because the war isn't over, and she knows that further action is coming, shall we say, and there are pieces that need to be in place for that to happen.
Right.
So we can't give up now. We have to keep up the pressure.
Oh man, that's oof. It's just the endless fight kind of thing.
Well, no rest for the wicked, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that scene when it's just like you have more work to be done. That the grimace on her face was one of the that one. I really love the facial animation and stuff that happened with Eltariel in this one, and the voice acting is beautiful.
She's been through a lot, and she really wants to
Yeah.
come home, but it's not done.
No. Oh man. So actually, with this now, real quick, a lot of people are asking, does this play during the Shadow Wars? And so this exact conversation takes place right before she picks up the ring, the new ring. So if you guys remember, during right before you kill the Witch King at the end of Shadow of War, you're looking at the Palantir, and you're seeing Galadriel fight with Celebrimbor against Sauron, and then you watch, Talion sees the end of the fight, and then it's like, and that's basically where the start of this cinematic is, and then she's sent off to kill Talion. So I won't give you too much more in that bit, but to help you guys know where that timeline is, kind of thing, with a hint or so. Let's see. I have another question for you now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of players felt betrayed by Eltariel and her actions. I mean, she has the new ring now. What do you feel is kind of one of the motivations, or some of the motivations, that got her to actually be part of this betrayal with Celebrimbor?
I think seeing domination in action and seeing it used against a Nazgul,
Right.
made her realize that the power of the new ring is so vast and so undeniable that she really thinks, this thing is dangerous, but it's so powerful that I think using it against Sauron, which Celebrimbor in that moment reveals to have been his goal all along,
Right.
is the way to finally, defeat the Dark Lord once and for all.
Right.
So it is absolutely a betrayal of Talion, and it's a tough moment, and I can see why people would be upset at Eltariel for doing what she does. But she certainly in that moment feels like this is the path to victory. Sacrifices have to be made, and she doesn't have a choice.
Right. So it's this moment for her that when we were discussing the never-ending battle, it was weighing on her, and then so the opportunity to work with Celebrimbor was almost the opportunity to leave that never-ending battle and go home.
Right.
Okay. That's a poor girl. Feel bad. Oh man. So with that, another thing I wanted to actually bring up is Shelob played a big role in the splitting of Talion and Celebrimbor for that. So what was actually specific? She mentions it, but I'll have you remind players specifically, like, what was Shelob's involvement in helping that betrayal occur?
Well, she sees a vision of Talion and Celebrimbor united going to fight Sauron and defeating him, and that results in Celebrimbor basically takes over and replaces the Dark Lord with the Bright Lord. And
Right.
Shelob, doesn't see that as being any better, and the Blade of Galadriel, Eltariel has talked about how
Internal terms.
Sometimes yes, sometimes stalemate is victory. Shelob has that on her mind as well, and so she does not want Talion and Celebrimbor to be united and to be strong and to go and defeat Sauron and replace him. So she starts planting the seeds early on in the story with the defense of Minas Ithil and getting the Palantir to give them separate objectives so that it will split them apart and break their bond. And that's sort of the beginning of the real cracks in their relationship that will ultimately lead Celebrimbor to say, actually, you know what, I don't need you. I have this other individual that I can bond with.
Right. So the betrayal helped save Middle-earth from having this new Bright Lord be the new Sauron, so to speak.
Right.
Yep.
Rough.
Yeah. So
it is.
Oh man, I saw a question in chat which I'll answer to real quick, which was, which is, in regards to playing this again. We can play this again after we have this conversation. We finished up. We can rock through it again real quick so those people who just jumped in can see it. Those of you who, able to see it again, kind of speculate, figure things out. We might do it towards the end or something like that. You can also just rewatch it at the end of the stream. But let's see. I have another thing that I want to talk to specifically. Let's make sure I don't grab the one with her hands all broken.
There it is.
There we go. So she's hesitant about the ring, but it also seems to be giving her new powers and that kind of thing. So is she hesitant about the ring now because she's like, I did a bad thing?
She's seen what happens when you use it. She's seen what happens to what's happening to Talion. She fears, what could happen with her. She's obviously seen the effect of the rings on the Nazgul over time. She's been ordered now to come back, finish the mission, pick up the ring and use it. And she's also been, given a very specific target that she's meant to track down and assassinate. So as to whether she will, strictly obey the letter of both of those commands is something that remains to be seen. But right now she's faced with the burden of, picking up the ring and wearing it.
The burden is a good way to put that. So here's one that actually is a personal kind of question, though I think we might find out more about it. In regards to the Light of Galadriel and versus the ring, did Galadriel herself build the Light of Galadriel in the same way that like Celebrimbor built the One Ring or the New Ring? Or is that something we'll hide for now?
I don't know how much we can speak to that right now.
That was a surprise question, so sorry about that. I was just thinking about it when I was like, oh yeah. Well, let's move to another one. Still related.
I think answering that could give other things away. So.
Okay. Well, let's. We have a couple teases that I did want to talk about besides this, which was about how she gets on. Now all of a sudden we see light happening, and we've seen in Shadow of War Eltariel use light. So it's something where, as a tease, actually, do you remember the two main scenes where she uses her abilities with light?
I think so. Yes. Yeah, she creates a shield. That Talion can enter to get away from the attacks from the Nazgul.
Right.
And when she runs into Shelob's cave, she jumps in with a very dramatic attack using the light in Shelob's cave against the Nazgul, and also it affects Shelob.
Right. So
we've had a little glimpse of some of the abilities that
glimpse of the light.
LTS. We've seen a little bit of the light. Some of the abilities that she could have. So
right. So this is basically, we're trying to give you guys some tools to speculate with. You've seen her with certain light powers occurring in Shadow of War, and so think about what kind of things would exist from a light abilities. Have some fun playing with that. We also see that she can physically make things exist with the power of the new ring and the light right there. So wanted to share that bit, and I think that would covered all the questions that I had for you. And I was looking through chat and I was following through you guys. Yeah, the new ring. Strelok, thank you for correcting me. I keep saying the one ring because right now that is our ring. It is our one ring in a way.
Well, the one ring is still lost at this point in the story, so it's all about the new ring.
Right. So let's see. Green Lantern. We're not going to reveal too many of her powers with the ring. We're not going to... And I've seen people asking if she can dominate or not. Not going to say anything on that one yet either. It's going to be fun to keep some of those hidden. And as we're... Let's see. This is an interesting question. Do we need to beat the campaign to play this? That's a bit of a mechanical one. Right now, no. You can... But we'll talk more about that stuff. And so as a player who's never beaten the game, you could jump in and play Blade of Galadriel. But we're not going to get too much into that because you shouldn't. You should play the main game because you would be confused otherwise. Let's see. A couple more questions. Is Talion in the DLC? Prime Thief 147. He was hinted on from Galadriel. You know who we speak of. Kind of line. Why do this to us?
If he were in there, I think interesting things could happen.
Yes, some very interesting things. It was Minas Morgul. And the last time we saw Talion, and it was the Palantir scene.
Yeah.
So
he's taken that as his base of operations. So
anyway, so I'm looking to see if there's any questions we can answer. I haven't really seen any. Yeah. So I think with that, Rich, if you want to hang out longer, you're welcome to. If not, I'm going to start jumping to a couple other things and moving on with the rest of the stream content we have for today.
Okay. I would love to hang out longer, but we do actually have a recording session happening today that I would like to
new
attend.
voice lines.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
Got some new people coming in.
Cool.
So, yeah, but thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, Rich.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Where's the camera?
I thought that was a high five, and I was like, oh, right.
I'll high five you too, and I don't want to leave you hanging. But
yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to go. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, loves. So, now this is an interesting opportunity for us because as Rich exits the area, if any of you don't yet have Shadow of War Gold Edition, there's a sweepstakes going on right now at Shadow of War's Twitter. Let's go ahead and look at that. Give me one moment to switch some cameras around. Specifically on how to do this.